Scruffy Audio Network.
Welcome to Politics. Scott Moore, Matt Webb.
I'm ready for this show.
Now, I'm looking forward to some of your takes. This is a big deal. What's happened here just in the past 48 hours? The Democratic primary has just gotten a lot more crowded and a lot more richer.
It has. We're going to get to that. You know, before that, I want to talk about something because Christmas is coming up. You may not celebrate Christmas. You may celebrate something else. But everybody
Happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, whatever you celebrate. Everybody has these crazy office parties. You also have these crazy parties you go to where you have to bring these gifts for some game that you call Secret Santa or other names. We got the perfect thing for you because we met these guys. We met Mark and Perry down at Politicon. They were
good guys, by the way.
Really good guys.
Yeah.
Booth right next to us. They have this product that's like it's really a unique, once-in-a-lifetime kind of product because it's going to be – we were talking about this. These presidential memorabilia type things, they're usually going to be worth something at some point if you hang on to them long enough, right?
Yes.
So we both got one while we were down there. It's a unique thing. They had a whole Trump guy there walking around. It's called the Trump POTUS Piggy Bank. Okay, POTUS Piggy Bank.
And this thing's hilarious, by the way.
It is funny. It's funny. So Perry designed this. They came out with the idea. It's Trump looking up at the sky, ready to swallow all your money, which some people think that he actually is. All you got to do to get this, by the way, if you're a listener of our show, you get a discount. You go to POTUS Piggy, POTUSPIGGY.com. When you get to checkout for your code, enter POLITICKED. That's all you got to do.
Spell it for me.
POLITICKED.
Slower.
POLITICKED. These guys are good. If you misspell, they'll probably still give you credit.
Yes,
anyway, you're going to get 10% off this deal. So go to POTUSPiggy.com. Get one of these gifts. It's going to be the perfect gag gift for your, especially for the folks that don't like Trump.
I would venture to say it's probably good to buy two of these because it never fails. 15 years from now, when
keep it in the box.
Exactly, keep it in the box. History is going to remember this era of Trump, either negatively or positively.
Both,
But it's going to be something of value. For sure.
This is Trump is a Teddy Roosevelt. Trump is a Abe Lincoln. He's a once in a ever kind of personality to be president. You need to get. You're right. You need to get at least two of these because you're going to open one and use it. You're going to give one away, but keep one in the box. So go to POTUSPiggy.com, pick up your Trump piggy bank, and tell them that we sent you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. We need to get to some polls, actually.
Do it.
Because you were about to talk about a guy entering the race. Before we do that, let's talk about some of the recent polls. We have a latest poll from Emerson. Biden and Sanders are tied at the top, 27-27. This is a crazy what do you notice about this field? Is anybody ever a front runner for long? We see all this flipping. We see all these people at the betting sites talking about who's going to be in the lead, and it's just impossible to predict. You got an Iowa poll again where Pete Buttigieg, Buttigieg as you call him, is +7. New York primary, Biden's +10. Here's one thing that's interesting. In the general election, the only person beating Trump right now in this recent poll from Emerson is Sanders by 1. And
that's a national poll.
Yeah, it's a national poll. Trump's beating everybody in Wisconsin, by the way, which is a huge swing state. This is why I want to talk about these polls. There's two articles in their competing papers, New York Times, New York Post, differing views. Start with
a little bit, yes.
Start with the Times first. Here's the article headline from the Times, which if the Times has this headline, they're worried. Quote, shy Trump voters could impair polls in battleground states again.
Okay. Do you remember last election, I guess after the election, when I said the media can do a lot of things, but they cannot risk being completely wrong.
You said that even on this show.
Yes.
Right, absolutely. Yep.
And I would actually put a check mark by that particular article, that headline.
From the Times.
The Times as being something that's a little fishy about them knowing what's going down so they can actually point back to it and say, no, we weren't totally wrong. Look at this.
Yeah,
that's what I see in that.
You said they will start to hedge, and that will be your key. Here's just one part of this article. It's called Shy Trump Voters. A pre-election study by Morning Consult warned that wealthier, more educated Republicans appeared slightly more reluctant to tell phone interviewers that they supported Trump, compared with similar voters who responded to online polls. It's what we said. Remember that poll I told you about from last election? The only one who really got it right. They actually asked, who do you think your friends and neighbors will vote for?
Brilliant way of doing it, by the way. It's actually deflecting not the responsibility, but deflecting the responsibility of having taken on Trump as your guy.
Right.
But knowing someone very close to you, like a neighbor, is almost adopting it.
Well, think about
it's a genius way of polling.
It is, but think about how many people are scared to, for whatever reason, tell someone they're voting for Trump. Number one, because they don't even know who this person is, and we've seen how people get attacked by wearing MAGA hats or talking about Trump or that sort of thing. It's all over the media. You get attacked for supporting the president. I
think it goes down to psychology too.
Yeah.
People want to be accepted and people want to be liked.
Yeah, and
when you have someone that's so unliked per the media, it's hard to say, yeah, that's my guy, because immediately you take on that persona of being unliked.
Look, here's proof that I'm actually do read things, because
I'm looking forward to this.
I want to tell you about this poll. One polling firm that showed Trump narrowly leading in some of the most inaccurately polled states. I'm struggling with words already. Inaccurately polled states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida, all of which he won, was the
Oh, God.
Trafalgar Group. I got that right in a second.
What?
This is so embarrassing. A Republican polling and consulting firm that uses a variety of non-traditional polling methods. I'm not editing any of this out. It sought to combat the shy Trump effect by asking respondents not only how they plan to vote, but also how their neighbors would vote, possibly offering Trump supporters a way to project their feelings onto someone else. Wow. That was painful, but proof. Proof.
Oh, man.
Proof of what we were saying, right? I mean,
is that an ongoing poll?
Yeah, it looks like I don't know that they're doing this again.
If they would update that on a maybe a quarterly basis, that would be extraordinarily intriguing.
They need to be the people that are polling. Those need to be the people we watch, clearly, because, again, of all the problems with the polls, one of them is that you don't want to admit that you're going to vote for Trump. Here's another article by Selena Zito in the New York Post. It's very similar. The title is Rust Belt Voters on Trump. And I'm going to add the hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'd vote for him again in a heartbeat. This is the Rust Belt.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
It's not.
If you're a Democrat strategist or a Democrat, if you're a Democratic voter that's really bought into this, it's not a good sign.
No, here's some voters from this article. Bonnie Smith, she thinks the impeachment inquiry is fueled by Democrats who were sore they lost. It's what we're saying about Middle America, right? Mm-hmm. I like his policy, said Michael Martin, who lives in the suburb of Erie, Pennsylvania. When it comes to actual results of Trump has turned out to be the traditional conservative Republican. I'd just like to take that damn phone away from him. It's the same thing.
It's not untrue. This guy's not. He's on to something with that phone thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. Most people are going to be willing to overlook this obsession that the president has of tweeting.
Yeah.
It's almost like there are certain things, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. There are certain things that we don't like about our significant others.
Please put words in my mouth because I can't say any right now.
All right, so I'll help you.
Yeah.
There are certain things that we don't like about our wives.
Maybe you.
Right?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But when you pile it all together, we still love our wives.
Absolutely. Yeah, and hopefully they still love us, right?
No, there's a lot to that when it comes to picking Trump, I think. So people are willing to overlook a lot of this shenanigans.
You can't say that enough. Listen, the media and the Democrats are so bent on coming out with the next big thing that we're going to hate Trump for. Let's find something else to make him a despicable, unlikable character.
They knew
it's not
that when they voted for him.
Either we knew it or we think it's bullshit. Either way, right? Either way, you're not moving us over. You're not going to move the needle. Here's a Democratic voter from Michigan. Cindy Hutchins is 58. The Democratic Party to date hasn't put anyone up there that would pull me away, says Cindy Hutchins, a lifelong Democrat who lives in Michigan but flipped her vote in 2016 to Trump. He won those voters. They've done nothing to change the mind of those voters, and they don't get it.
Well, there's been no policy. There's been no concrete platform that they've stood on. There's been no quality candidate that they've groomed over the past 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, that would elevate a position.
This is a teaser you're setting up, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be willing to take it over.
Yeah.
Because what the Democrats have been really good at in the past is they've said, "Oh, this guy's an up-and-comer. We should elevate him, get him involved in things and involved in the media, blah, 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 whatever it is." What has been the obsession with Democrats for the past 3.5, 4 years?
It's my turn, really. I mean, that's one of the things I see.
Well, the obsession is let's get Trump impeached.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because he won. Right.
Because, and what that does is it keeps Trump as the primary headline.
You said that. It keeps the focus off them. The other thing that I was thinking while you were talking, though, is the Democratic Party is really turning into what the Republican Party was for a while, and that is, hey, this person has earned the shot to be the next candidate for president.
No, the old adage, a really good friend of mine who spent his career in D.C., he says, historically, Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line.
Yeah, right.
And what the Democratic Party has become over the past 8-10 years is they've fallen in line. And it really started, I think, with John Kerry's nomination in 2004. I think he's a very smart guy, comes from money.
Right.
He could be made a great statesman if you can make the case for that. But was not a lovable character. He was very cardboard and plastic.
He was wonky. He's like Al Gore, very wonky.
Very much like Al Gore. So maybe it even goes back further to Al Gore.
Yeah.
He was in line. They didn't fall in love. Then you had someone like Clinton.
Right.
They fell in love with Clinton.
Yeah.
And they really got lightning in a bottle with Clinton.
And Obama, really. Same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Hillary Clinton was supposed to be the nominee. Everybody knew it. Obama kind of threw a bomb into the whole thing. And because of that, again, they seem to be back to this, folks, like I'm supposed to be next. And the one last thing I would say about this article is what we've been saying all along. This is Ohio voter Bonnie Smith again, another swing state. She's a lifelong Democrat again who voted for Trump in 2016. There's at least two of these in this article. If you live and work in Washington, New York, or the West Coast, you don't know anyone like me.
Okay, that's almost such solid gold for the Republican cause, those a few sentences that she said, that it almost could be fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I don't think. I'm giving it about a 99.9% chance of being authentic.
Yeah.
But she's not being she's speaking the truth.
Yeah, she's not wrong. We've talked about this bubble. They just don't get it. They don't get would actually appeal to voters. They want to talk about issues. They want to talk about the economy. They don't care about how bad of a guy Trump is and all this stuff that they don't even understand, right?
Yeah.
Understanding impeachment, understanding Ukraine, understanding these nuances that they're trying to impeach this president on, and they see this as political theater, which is what we see it as, Same thing.
My favorite part so far, and this is kind of an offshoot of the conversation, what I've gathered the past few days is if you're too stupid to understand what we're saying in this impeachment hearing, you don't even deserve to vote.
Yeah.
That's kind of the meta message. That's between the lines that I'm picking up from Democrats
That's
here.
why your vote should be negated from 2016.
Because you're too stupid to understand why this isn't important.
It's vice president. You were too dumb to vote for the right person.
Yeah.
So we're going to fix that for you.
So sorry about that. But
no.
Going into something that, I tried to tee it up, you interrupted me.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
forgiven.
I usually do that.
You do. Thoughts on Mike Bloomberg? Was it you? It may have been you or our friend Eddie Zipper who tweeted this, but it's like, how tone deaf do you have to be as a billionaire to jump into the Democratic primary who's attacking billionaires on stage? I mean, that's really all they're talking about now is how rich the 1% is and how we need to do away with that. And now you have a billionaire jumping into the fray. Here's what I would say. Okay.
You and I had 2 live shows, well, sort of live shows. We were on stage at Politicon.
Yes.
Both those times, we had Bernie Sanders type folks watching us.
Yes.
These people are going to be offended by somebody like Mike Bloomberg.
Oh, listen, that was one of my big points I was going to make here.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear your quick takes on Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah.
11th richest person in the world.
Wow. Yeah.
The 11th richest person on the planet
Yeah.
is now vying to be the Democratic nominee for president of the planet,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
Does this lessen the possibility of a voter turnout for those that have been pushing this anti 1%?
You mean the actual people who would vote for those people? Does it lessen their turnout? So people get, I guess, people get what is the word I'm looking for? Wow,
Disenfranchised?
I wanted to, but not really. They're just basically fed up with the system and say, because this guy can jump in and run on the platform on the Democratic Party, I'm out. I'm not going to vote at all. Because again, they're going to feel like Bernie's being sabotaged and whoever else their candidate is, and money is in control again. I'm out. I'm out of the party.
So this was my quick take when I first read about this sometime yesterday, because they always float out the feelers of, he's thinking about doing it. He may announce very soon. So trying to wrap my arms around it as just a normal dude out there, and writing down some thoughts. The one candidate at this point that could actually pull off the upset against Donald Trump, I think, is Bloomberg.
Here's the question.
I do. Yeah. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Because you're looking at a man who is, again, one of the richest men on the planet.
Right.
He's worth $11 billion. Okay, that's a lot of...
Way richer than Trump.
That's a lot of freaking money there. Okay, so he's going to be able to almost self-finance.
He is. He's going to self-finance.
This type of, the Democratic Party is going to need it.
Yeah. Because
I don't know if you've been looking at their success in fundraising the past couple of years. It's been paltry.
Yeah.
I mean, they have been out fundraised by Trump by multiples.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how much more money he has.
So if you look at the one person that could do it financially, now will he catch fire? I don't know, because people that haven't heard Mike Bloomberg speak are going to learn something about Mike Bloomberg. He's not a statuesque man.
Right.
Okay. He looks like a cartoon character, and it's only backed up by his voice, which is much more cartoon character like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know how that's going to play off, particularly in the South, particularly in the Rust Belt,
which is where he's trying to win. Actually, he's going to skip Iowa and New Hampshire, I think.
Well, and listen, it's almost an insult. Do you think that Mike Bloomberg wins in November, New Hampshire, and Iowa? I think that those voters stay at home because of that.
Yeah.
We're not even good enough for you to show up for the primary. Well, here's my middle finger. You can sit on it.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably going to be the response, because these people are very proud of where they come from. And I think it's going to be a great position for Republicans to fight back with. But I think it's probably the one type of candidate that they can probably push and get to win the election. To me, where this came from, and I did not mention this on the show. I should have, because I'm the man of hot takes here. But to me, when the Buttigieg was beginning to poll as the front runner in Iowa, and then all of a sudden it began to manifest itself in New Hampshire, I think that people that look at this from a little bit of a step back should have noticed that that's not right. Mayor Pete is not a national candidate. He's a weak candidate.
He's really done nothing, right? That's the issue.
Listen, he's a small town mayor, so it's hard for me to say he hasn't done anything, because small town mayors have a very difficult job. Because in reality, South Bend's actually a medium-sized city compared to you have to take out the monstrosity cities in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago out of the picture, because those are really your one-off outliers. So really, the next step down is your medium-type cities. Those types of mayors are under the microscope like nobody's business. Unfortunately for Mayor Pete, he's got a really poor reputation with minorities.
Yeah.
About the way he's handled some very touchy subjects of
which will come back up.
That's going to come back and haunt him. But to me, the bellwether in this was when someone that is so weak becomes your new rising star,
right?
And you're less than a year from the show, something had to give.
Yeah, this is hot take. Is he scared? So is the DNC scared? Is Bloomberg scared? They're thinking that unless I jump in at this point, we're done. We're toast. That's the thought. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I do.
Or is it the opposite? He's saying,
but I also think that there is a set of the Democratic Party that said, Mike, we're toast in this. Okay?
Yeah.
And this is all conjecture and this is all assumption, so you can take it for what it's worth. But I could foresee something happening in a dark room, guys are sipping whiskey and smoking cigars that say, Mike, need to ask you a favor.
Right.
We need you to run for president so Hillary won't run for president.
Oh, I could, yeah, because everybody's waiting for that.
Yeah,
everybody's waiting for an announcement.
But also, there is a part of the Democratic Party that is very blue blood, very old school, that is terrified of the Bernie Sanders movement and terrified of this wave of wanting socialism.
The folks that we saw at Politicon, they're terrified of those people.
They're terrified of those people because if you allow those people to get into power, they're going to ruin it for Republicans, for capitalists, but also for those in permanent Washington who are the bureaucrats that have spent their entire career solidifying a certain way of doing business.
We've seen it. They can't control them now. They can't control the ones in Congress.
So to me, that's a big thing that you're seeing with Bloomberg getting in. Again, he's the 11th richest man on the planet. Now, that's just a number to some people. Yeah. But there's a lot of room between the sentences here, but you have to read between the lines, I should say. Does the 11th richest man on the planet get to that particular point of status without having done something?
We were talking about that
excludes him from being a president.
We were talking about that. So and not only that, so I was talking to a colleague today at work, and one of the things he said was, I think what they're going to try to argue on the Democratic side is Bloomberg's a self-made billionaire as opposed to Trump.
Which is total crap.
But the opposite side of that is, okay, what have you done to get money so fast then? Okay, you didn't inherit some. You didn't already have a big nest egg running with you. What have you done, especially in New York City, to get your money? There's got to be skeletons in the closet.
It's not just skeletons in the closet, which I'm sure there are, because, again, he's the 11th richest man on the planet. But mergers and acquisition are the easiest way to grow fast as a business person.
Right.
Private business, private equity, they buy, they flip businesses, they grow substantial amounts of wealth.
We need to get into that. Can we get into that?
Yeah, I would. I'm here waiting for
Folks,
investors.
call us.
but these types of people are like bulldozers.
Right.
The way they acquire wealth is razzing and bulldozing and selling. Right? So he was in media, so he acquired businesses and he sells businesses, but in doing so, he has done something. I can guarantee it. He has done something that's going to make it tricky for him to be taken seriously if everything's level.
He's taken away health care and jobs from a bunch of people, at least, at a minimum.
Yeah, and
we know that.
To me, I think that the bigger thing with Bloomberg would be, he probably has. I mean, that again,
laid off all kinds of people.
You almost have to be that type of business.
When you buy a company, you lay off people and sell it. I mean,
that's the easiest way to make it more profitable. Yeah.
Right.
To me, it's rather telling that. He did grow rather fast. He is the mayor of the capital of the world. But if you look in history, how good of a position has that been?
As the mayor of New York City?
Does it translate to the president of the world, U.S. president?
Not that I can recall.
No, it does not. I'll answer it for you. It does not. I think Cuomo is probably the best example.
The closest, right.
I mean, for years he was rumored as being the guy on deck.
Yeah.
If you remember that back in 92, before Clinton finally got in, it was really the last litmus test of whether or not the Democrats were to take Clinton seriously. Is Cuomo going to jump in? If Cuomo comes, everything jumps over to Cuomo because his time is now.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't do it because I think even in Cuomo's position, he did the back of the napkin math and finds this is not going to work.
Yeah,
people on Staten Island, people love me.
Yep.
I'm going to win 90% of the vote. But if you go 100 miles north, he's got to pay for those votes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if he goes 200 miles south towards D.C., do people even know who the mayor of New York City is?
Well, they'll know who Bloomberg is, right? Because
Okay,
of the
that was my
media
next
thing.
point. Okay, people are going to say, well, he's got this name recognition. Okay, true. Bloomberg carries name recognition. For what?
Financial information.
Okay, financial information. Okay, I saw he's got this Bloomberg network, okay?
Yep.
Who do you know more about? A guy named Bloomberg or a guy named Trump?
Right now, Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a substantial problem. So even from the very beginning, even as the 11th richest man on the planet,
Yeah.
he's still going to have to buy notoriety.
Well, people couldn't name the top 10 right now, and they know Trump. I mean, that's part of it, right? And the top 10
But
are
the
probably
reality is he's going to have to buy his way into this.
two things you said that are really, to me, important, and I think you're onto something on both. Number one, I really do think that they're trying to keep Hillary from coming back into this election. I don't even know that but I think they think
If they haven't thought of this, they should have.
I think they think if Bloomberg's going to run, she will not announce, because look what he's going for, the middle of the road voter. He's going for the Mayor Pete, the Iowa, New Hampshire voter. Even if he doesn't win in those states, there's no shot at getting the Warren voters and the Sanders voters to vote for Bloomberg. What you're counting on is for Bloomberg or somebody like him to eke by in the primary and then try to get enough votes in the general to beat Trump. But the problem is Republicans, like you said, in another case, they fall in line. They fall in line behind the candidate who actually gets the nomination, like they did with Trump. There's a lot of people that wanted Cruz or Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio, but they still voted for Trump. They didn't stay home necessarily. They will stay home if Bloomberg is the nominee. These people we saw in Politicon, they're not voting.
I kind of agree with you, but I wanted to bring up my next thought, which I think is the kicker here. And this is why I think it is the trickiest next few months for Democrats ever.
Yeah.
They could stay home. They absolutely could stay home, because I think that, those guys are bought and paid for with the Bernie movement.
Yeah.
Or the Warren movement, whatever that movement is, socialize medicine and whatever. The biggest problem of a Bloomberg candidacy is the third party.
That's another issue, right?
No, it is. I disagree. It is the primary issue.
That's the same as staying home, right? I mean, it's the same thing.
It almost is.
It's what you did. You waste a vote.
But no, I didn't. But I think the problem is that it's not like staying home. It's almost like staying home,
right?
Because what's going to happen is, if you have a third party candidate, and the reason I say this is, who's the third party candidate if Bloomberg gets a nomination?
Sanders.
Yep. That's not the same thing as staying home.
Well,
he runs and he collects votes like Ross Perot did.
Absolutely,
in '92.
But from who?
And I think he collects so many votes from the Democratic side that I think overwhelmingly blue states are purple.
You think it's almost a Reagan-type election at that point, but because they're going to split the votes so much?
Only in the outcome.
Right.
Only in the outcome. Reagan was a two-party race. Well, I mean, two major party race.
There's no question Trump blows out the popular vote at that point.
Probably. Yeah,
no question about that.
But that's the biggest problem, is the third party in this.
Absolutely.
And I think that, what Democrats are either celebrating because they're saying, okay, finally we've got a guy that aligns with more of a Joe Biden type approach, and it's going to capture the minds of the swing voters. So another thing that's going to happen is we're really going to see the value of what Democrats or the media has always said is the swing vote.
Yeah.
Is this a serious thing now?
Right.
Is the swing vote, if Trump gets elected with a Democratic candidate that's supposed to get the swing vote because he 5 years ago he was actually Republican.
Yep.
Because to me, I look at it and say, Bloomberg's a guy I could probably vote for based on his policies.
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah.
I knew you'd say that.
I mean, this whole time I've been saying, give me a reason not to vote for Donald Trump.
And by the way, he was a Republican for a long time. He's very pro-business, obviously, right?
So, to me, I think it's going to blow open the gates of maybe this fraudulent claim of Democrats, really caring about, wealth.
Yeah.
Because those that showed up to vote for a Bloomberg president can basically just cash out because what they say about being a 1%er means absolutely crap to me.
Hypocrites if you vote
Yes,
for him. Right.
for the rest of my life.
Yep.
And the second was when I just said about them, what did I just say? I just forgot it.
You talking about the third party thing?
Yeah, the third party thing.
Listen, I'm gonna blow your mind a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe you thought about this, but there's very little difference between a Bloomberg presidency and a Trump presidency, except for the tweeting.
Oh my God,
It's almost exactly the same person.
yes.
Trump is very much a very Democratic Republican. He from a social
Bloomberg is Donald Trump with a bedside manner.
yeah. I mean, in fact, he may not even go as far as Trump does with the tariffs and that sort of thing. He may not even go that far, and that's a very Democratic thing to do. They're almost identical. You're running a person that, I mean, Donald Trump was probably a Democrat for a long time, and he ran as a Republican.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you've got a guy now that was a Republican. He's running as a Democrat.
The one thing that these guys are automatically on board with Bloomberg are going to wake up one day, probably sometime in July, and it's going to hit them, and they're going to say, "Oh my God, there is only one way to become a billionaire."
Yeah,
and this was kind of what I was getting to in the very beginning. There's only one way to become a billionaire, and it's doing business a certain way, and it's kind of that crash and burn, razz, tear down, sell. Well, when you get into the most powerful position in all of government, president, you think he's going to just do an about face? And no, he's going to continue to do things that he's always done it. And in a very similar manner, like these tariffs are a big deal to certain people.
Yep.
But you know what? They're kind of working.
Yeah.
They're kind of working. They're not doing, and they're not handicapping America and America's growth like everyone's thought it would have.
No.
Immediately.
Right.
Maybe has it put a governor on it because certain companies are hamstrung by where they source product from? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what it's doing is it's making our position in the world more powerful.
I mean, and look, they're having to subsidize in certain way. Number one, we're having to subsidize a little bit, but they're having to bring jobs back to America because
well,
they don't.
It's not just that. It's just they're actually having to source product through friendly countries.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's bringing down our cost to do business substantially in some areas. So that's not going to change.
Right, right.
People need to wake up. It's to your point, it's very similar to a Trump presidency. That's not going to change because it's the same business style of acquisition and merger. That's the way you do it. And
yeah,
I think that there's a lot of people in the Democratic Party that are going to be woefully disappointed with a Mike Bloomberg presidency because he's not going to take the time to be concerned with this ankle-biting conversation of socialism. No. You're talking to the 11th richest man in the world.
And the identity politics. He's not going to care about that.
What does the 11th richest man in the world possibly want for Christmas? He wants to be the richest man in the world.
Oh, there you go. I got you.
Or the 10th richest man in the world. Right? Without a doubt. I took a sneak peek at Santa's list. That's what Mike Bloomberg asked for this year. Okay? That's what he wants.
Right.
I mean, if Democrats don't see that, I'm sorry. You're naive.
Well, they are going through their own version of our Tea Party at some point as a Republican.
In a way, yeah.
Because they're going through this whole issue where it's not a matter of, hey, we're all going to come together in the general election and vote for a person. We saw what the Tea Party did. It ended up putting a lot of people into positions in Congress that got us to lose seats. We lost a Senate seat in Alabama because of the Tea Party type stuff, right? These people running very far right. We say, okay, we're only going to support this person. We're not going to vote for the other side, and that's going to happen on the Democratic side. They're not just going to all get back in line if Bloomberg is the nominee, even if Mayor Pete's the nominee. They're not going to get in line.
Listen, if Mayor Pete's the nominee, I'm sorry for you Democrats. You're going to lose 58 states.
And we've already seen how much Trump support in the African American community is building. He's at 34% in two polls. He's at 34%.
I would question those polls.
There's two polls where he's 34%.
Question those polls. You look them up, please do, because I would. I would
you
be
keep
very
talking. I'm looking.
I'd be very interested to see those polls. But
keep going.
To me, I think that he polls better with the African American community. Absolutely. Does he break double digits? I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, it's just I think that particular segment of our nation has been bought and paid for. No, I'm going to make a quick switch. Okay,
go ahead.
This is from the Metro from the UK.
Okay.
Headline reads: Hitman hires hitman, who hires hitman, who hires hitman, who hires hitman, who tells police. 5 hitmen have been jailed for an attempted murder after each one avoided carrying out the contract themselves so they could make a profit. This is like subcontracting to the nth degree, by the way. Chinese talk about messing up names and words. You're about to.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Chinese businessman Tan Yuhe was looking for a hitman to take out a competitor. Mei Mu was willing to pay 2 million yen. Is it yen or
yen?
Yen? No, is it?
I don't know.
Chinese dollars. How about that?
Yeah.
To get the job done. The hitman that Mr. Yuhe hired decided to offer the job to another hitman for half the price of the original price.
Did they not have a contract that said you can't subcontract this out?
That may have been a paper trail they were looking to avoid. The second hitman then subcontracted to another hitman, who then subcontracted to a fourth, who gave the job to yet another, a fifth hitman. However, the hitman number 5 was so incensed of how much the value of the contract had fallen.
He's getting nothing at this point.
That he told the target to fake his own death, which eventually led to the police finding out about the plot. This is awesome.
That's
by
unbelievable.
The way. I mean, if this wasn't in the news, I wouldn't believe it.
Play dead.
Anybody get the joke there?
Yeah.
It's got to be on the internet. It's real. The story on this is, if you're going to kill somebody, just do it yourself.
Yeah, why even pay?
Don't even pay. Just strangle them. Do Epstein them.
Yeah.
Have an accident.
Or, like you said, hire who Hillary Clinton hires. That's usually the best way to do it. She's been successful every single time. It had to be worth nothing at the point that it got down to this guy. They were probably giving him like a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Oh, is that the one that was?
That's what you kill somebody over anyway, right? So
I guess. Headlines these days read something like this.
Okay.
Record growth, record joblessness falls.
Yep.
Right? Everyone that needs a job's got a job, blah, 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 blah. And then you have articles that are paired like this from MarketWatch.com. 2 million Americans don't have access to running water and basic plumbing. Now, to me, as someone who consumes media in a rather untraditional way, I'm more of a Drudge.com guy.
Right.
It seems rather inauthentic for the media to have such a boner, if you will, over us not being successful.
Right.
Okay. So to me, we have a roaring economy. We have job numbers like I've never seen it in my life.
Across the board, it's the best. Right?
I've not seen it in my life. You've not seen it in your life either. It's really, really good. So, and we'll just extract whose fault or whose credit this goes to.
Okay.
But then you pair it with an article that draws in hundreds of thousands of people that choose not to have running water or plumbing.
Right. Okay.
Rural areas, tribal areas,
right,
things of that nature. And then they put it as a headline to try to balance out what is being written,
the positive spins,
the positive to the
things,
negative. Right? Do you think that this is a sign, in your opinion, your hot take? Do you think it's a sign of media bias, or do you think it's just it really is a problem? There's 2 million Americans out there that have no access to running water or plumbing.
I think you really hit on something. Now we don't worry about, let me get all the facts from an issue, and then based on those facts, I'm going to report those facts and form an opinion. They start out from the premise that I'm going to attack this spin that the economy and life in America is better than it's ever been because it's all Trump saying. How can I go after that? This is one way. I see a number here that says this many people do not have running water. It doesn't ask, do they want to have running water or why do they not have running water? It doesn't even talk about the poverty level. They're just pulling out one particular data point and making their argument with it. That's the issue. That's why it's biased.
How many people, along the same lines, how many people do you think come across the border every single year?
I have no idea.
No, take a wag at it.
200,000.
Okay, we'll say 250,000, 250,000 people choose to cross the border.
Yep.
Okay? They are included in this number.
Gotcha.
Okay? So rural, people of color, tribal communities, and immigrants
are all included
in this number. To me, it's disingenuous to include these numbers in this particular article. 2 million Americans don't have access to running water and basic plumbing. I think it's probably more telling if you would say how many people could have access to it if they would simply walk a mile to have access to it.
Right. Gotcha.
Or how many of those immigrants would have access to it if they simply stayed at home.
Gotcha.
Rather than immigrating.
Uh-huh.
Are you ready for something incredibly gross and pretty incredible?
Go for it.
Okay. Incredible things happen when doctors are called to duty, right? I think of doctors, we need a doctor.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Someone, I'm a doctor.
Right.
Oh, the Heimlich, I can do the Heimlich.
We need a sales guy.
I need. That's not really been said on an airplane. So, and this goes back to the Sun. God, I love the Sun from the UK. Gee, this thing is.
I think I know this story.
This is.
Let's go with it.
Your incredible hero doctor saves passenger's life by sucking urine out of his bladder on a nonstop 37-minute flight.
I heard that. Oof.
This is incredible. Now, listen, I love my job. But if someone said, Scott, you got to come in here. You've got to suck urine out of Matt's bladder. Let me ask you this. Do you have any idea how to suck urine out of someone's bladder?
I have no.
How would you do that?
It's got to be like siphoning gas, right? I mean, it's very similar.
Where do you put the tube, Matt?
That I would have to have some help with.
You put them through the pee-pee hole.
Is that a joke?
No.
Oh, wow. I don't even.
You ready to do some reading?
Go for it.
This incredible moment, a hero doctor saves an airline passenger's life by sucking urine from his bladder on a nonstop 37-minute flight. Footage from an onboard from a Chinese Southern Airlines plane to New York shows Zhang Hong, been funny if his name was Zhang Dong, springs into action to help the sickened 70-year-old man. At this point, if I'm the doctor, and this is how I know I'm not a very good man, at this point I would say, all right, I'm a doctor. How old's this guy? You want me to do what? He's how old? It's just his time.
I'm sorry. Sir, there's nothing I can do to help you. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You've lived a good, long life.
Exactly.
I'm not sucking urine out of your penis. Dr. Zhang, not to be translated to Wang, rushed to the aid of the man after he collapsed in agony and told the cabin crew that he was unable to urinate. A makeshift catheter failed to relieve the passenger's ailing blockage, leaving little time for his bladder. It would mean it would rupture and fatally.
Oh, wow.
Vascular surgeon Dr. Zhang, not Wang, and his colleague Zhao Zhangzai, I have no idea if I pronounced that.
You got close.
Decided that the only course of action was to remove the urine manually. Dr. Zhang, not Wang, used an improvised catheter used of plastic tubing, a syringe, and a milk straw. He spent nearly 40 minutes. He sucked
40 minutes?
For 40 minutes. This man sucked for 40 minutes.
How long has it been since this guy's taking a piss? Like, how big is this bladder?
He sucked for almost an hour getting a liter of piss out of this man's bladder.
Good God.
Using only his mouth.
And a straw.
The doctor's selfless act of saving the... God's met this up. I'm too close to you. Yeah. The selfless doc said after his life-saving heroics, saving lives is a doctor's instinct.
You know what I think? Here's what I think. I'm glad that there were plastic straws on the plane because a paper straw would have never made it 40 minutes.
What if they said, Doc, we've got no straws?
Yeah. It would be, imagine if you had to suck it through a cocktail straw.
I'm
That would have
just saying-
taken like 2 hours.
Well, no, we don't have any cocktail straws.
Nothing. You just got to go straight. Come on. Straight from the source. No, obviously he had to fit the straw up in there somehow. There was some blockage going on, so there had to be a straw involved. Otherwise, he would have just maybe saved a step.
Have you ever gotten caught in a situation where you're like, you got to go so bad that you're sweating?
I think there's a word for that. It's called a peegasm. You hold it long enough so that the relief feels incredible by the time you hit the toilet.
I've never heard of peegasm, by the way.
Look it up on Urban Dictionary.
But that is hysterical.
You know when you hold it for so long, can't find a bathroom, and you finally do. It's almost the best feeling in the world. Almost.
It's almost like a
peegasm. I really thought I was going to pee my pants, and I found a toilet. It's an incredible feeling.
Aren't you, girl? At what point do you just pull it out and take its whiz?
That's true. I guess I could do that. That is being a little sissy.
I mean, are you like a perpetual squatter, Matt? Do you have to have a toilet seat?
I do got to say though, you would not be the doctor in this situation, but if you were the patient, you would be glad there was a doctor like this out there that was willing to suck the urine out of your bladder rather than it explode, because that would be a painful way for you to go, and I mean go like expire, not go on the toilet.
A ruptured bladder?
Yeah.
You can imagine that'd be one of the most painful ways to go.
It's got to be. It's got to be. So, I mean, this guy is a true hero. It's a little gross.
Footage taken in the plane's galley shows the medic repeatedly spitting urine into an empty wine bottle.
See, it's siphoning.
During the life-saving procedure. Dr. Zhang, not Wang, added, "There was no other way. I didn't even think much about it." Which is a lie, by the way.
Which one?
Which is a total lie. I only wanted to help him extract the urine retained in his bladder. And folks, there is a picture. I mean, so okay, so this is China, obviously. In America, doctors are going to give Dr. Zhang some shit over this, right?
When he comes into work the next day, absolutely.
Congratulations, huge round of applause, and then somebody's going to just bust his stones for the next half hour, about
absolutely
how he saved someone's life.
Yeah.
Do they do that in China?
That's not polite, I don't think. I think they would be scared to do it. They would do it behind his back, probably.
That's what we do in the South.
Exactly.
All right, so anything you got?
I think that's it, man. That's a good show, though.
That was a good show.
Yep.
Listen, happy Thanksgiving to you.
To you as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm very thankful for this thing we called politics.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been great. And by the way, you need to find us and share our social media with your friends. Go download our podcast. Obviously, subscribe. You can find us on Twitter at WPoliticked. You can find us on Facebook at We Are Politicked. And go find our other show. I mean, our other show is really fun. It's about to take off. It's Every Election Ever in Beer. We do it with our friend Eddie Zipper. We're about to go down to a brewery in Chattanooga. So if you're listening to us here, find us there. It's called the Wonderlinger Brewery in Chattanooga, downtown Chattanooga. Come see us. Let us know how you're doing. And thanks for listening. We appreciate you all, too, for sure.
Thank you very much. We're going to also look forward to our pub crawl, if you will.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll be watching you guys. I won't be drinking, but we're going to do that. More breweries.
We'll have ciders there.
I will. They should have a few.
You child woman.
They know women come
child.
in. They know women come in too. So.
Anyway.
Yep.
Goodbye.